Perfect Cocktail Pursuits is an entertaining, behind-the-scenes peek at cocktail culture. Since 2010, I've traveled the globe pursuing the perfect cocktail. I showcase the creative excellence of this exciting industry. Welcome to Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. My name is Rosalina Africano, and I'm your host. My special guest today is John Gakuru. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you very much. So usually how we start Perfect Cocktail Pursuits is by demonstrating a cocktail. When you're at Tales of the Cocktail, they just kind of appear all of a sudden. So cheers.
Cheers.
So we are in the Black House by Sorrel. And we are in New Orleans for Tales of the Cocktail. And this is how we're acquainted, because you're on the Tales of the Cocktail board.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. And you've actually done quite a few things. You know, I was sitting next to Jared Brown, and he's part of Sipsmith Gin, and he related a lovely story about how he was able to write his book.
Jared and Anastasia have written many, many books.
Yes, they have.
During my tenure at Sagatiba Cachaça, I asked them to do what they do best, which is to do some historical research on the cachaça category. So Sagatiba enabled Jared and Anastasia through me and the original idea, sent Jared and Anastasia to Brazil to do some research on the category of cachaça, the results of which really helped me in my job articulate and share and spread this category, which is incredible and diverse and wonderful, but hyper local, specifically Brazil. That really helped me do my job.
Fantastic. I have a little cheat sheet over here, and I want to talk about the things you want to talk about. I happen to know that you run a Bar Equipment for Africa campaign here at Tales, and so you're better off to tell it the story than I am. What I do know about it is if you have extra bar equipment, extra branded spirit branding, such T-shirts, hats, that you take them to Africa so that they can be put to good use as opposed to wasted here.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's something that I started last year. I'm extremely proud of it. However, this year we've had a major edit to the vocabulary that sits around this initiative. Tales of the Cocktail is a place of education, support, and inspiration, and I'm here to learn as much as anybody else that's here for Tales. So this year, for the first time, we've had an incredible group of hospitality leaders from Africa, specifically South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya. And the Bar Equipment drive for Africa came from a beautiful place in my heart. As you know, I was born in Kenya. I am Kenyan. I'm half Kenyan, half English. I do not live in Kenya full time. I live in Los Angeles now, and these amazing folks that came to New Orleans this year have really taught me a very valuable lesson that I really have taken to heart. Africa is a huge continent, and so, you know, by saying Bar Equipment for Africa, that's not accurate. So, you know, I'm taking it very specifically to Kenya, which is also a huge country in itself. So, you know, we've tightened the vocabulary.
Okay, so I didn't just pull this out of the air. That was what it was before. It's evolving.
Correct.
I got you.
And it's that evolution that continues to inspire me, and to have people at the Tales of the Cocktail table engaging with the board of directors to adjust the language so that it's not a gift giving campaign. Instead, we're shifting the narrative towards sustainability. So you know, we want to use next year, I hope next year, and it's my mission, to bring an edited version of this campaign, which is no single-use barware. So
no single-use barware. Allow me to repeat that, because that's so very important.
You know, these big global brands, and I've been guilty of doing this, you know, when I've had responsibility for trade marketing budgets. You know, it's so easy to produce a ton of single-use stuff. And then, the brand goes through, a new brand manager comes in, and there's a branding refresh, and all of that stuff that was created is now obsolete because, it's last year's logo or whatever it may be.
Right.
And so the narrative, where this program started was I was in Kenya a couple of years ago, and the conversation came up, and I said, well, what can I do? Like, I've just got this position on the board of directors at Tales of the Cocktail Foundation. And that's what I was told. I was told, you know what, we don't have access to the same amounts of bar equipment as other countries. So why don't we see if we can, get some bar kits together, and we can do a bit of bartender training, and we can begin to elevate the profession of bartending from unskilled to skilled. Many countries around, this is not unique to Africa or Kenya specifically, many countries around the world do not consider bartending, and even in some cases hospitality, to be a skilled profession. One part of the foundation's vision and mission is to shift that, to support our bar communities around the world, to lift the profession of bartending from unskilled to skilled, so that bartenders feel like they are part of a broader community around the world of brothers, sisters, and others who want nothing more than to connect with our community around the world and lift everybody up, because a rising tide lifts all boats, right? There will be a different narrative, and it's going to be around sustainability and not throwing so many things away. And it's not that we discard things; it's that we want to give them a half-life. Like we want them to go to people who need bar equipment, and if you need bar equipment, we're going to be working on initiatives whereby we have a kind of grab and go. If you've got excess equipment you have no use for, drop it at this, drop off and collection point. If you need bar equipment, come find us. There's bar equipment available if you need it.
Right.
If you do not, tip top, let us know what you do need. So it's been a week. I've
has been a week.
I've really been on a bit of a personal and professional roller coaster this week, but I come out of this week full of love and good intention, and a new group of people that I can reach out to across Africa, who will be able to assist with how we might reword this or rethink it. So I come out of this week not making any rush decisions. Instead, we're going to be really intentional, and we're going to make sure that this program has actually a broader opportunity about reusing, recycling, and not throwing away.
Right. That's fantastic, and it's quite a necessary path for both parties. The other project that I wanted you to mention was the Kenya Kids campaign that you're involved with.
So, thank you for asking about that. It's something that I haven't really discussed at Tales because it means so much to me. It makes me emotional. After my father passed away a few years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, Kenya has become more and more important to me on a personal level. And a dear friend of mine, his name's Andrew. And Andrew's become a really dear friend. And he shifted his energy from supporting the orphanage to this tiny little school. They had the walls of classrooms, but they had no roofs. They had no desks. They had no, at least not formal like school structure, like we know a school classroom to be. There were no chalkboards. There was nothing except love and passion from the headmistress and the teachers. And if you've ever seen a bunch of 5-year-old Kenyan kids go through a graduation ceremony,
I bet there wasn't a dry eye in the room,
myself included.
Right.
So once Andrew introduced me to the principal at the school and the teachers and obviously the kids, we just started doing little bits. Like, we need a roof over the school classroom. Like, how much? Like, it's gonna be $600. I'm like,
exactly.
Done. Okay. So we've now built 2 classrooms. We built a new sanitation block. We built a fresh water system. So for the first time, these kids have access to fresh sanitation, water. Drinking water, food, to wash their hands in. And like, it's just some of those basic human rights were not available to these kids. So, as an out proud, gay man, I may never have, biological children of my own. But I got these kids.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is I've been tracking your progress on the kids from Kenya, and I've seen new desks. I saw the water cooler now, the big,
Yeah.
huge dispenser of water for all the uses. Teachers have new desks, and they look even prouder than when they started. You're making really impactful, meaningful change. And it didn't take you very long to do. Like the time it took you to make these things happen is altering the path of these children's futures.
Thank you. And if you'll allow me, I'd love to say thank you for your donation, and thank you to everybody that has donated. Full stop. It is, I'm out there in 3 weeks, and I'll be bursting into tears then.
Of course, of course. Well, thank you so much for sharing the information that you have today about the projects that you're involved with. It's, I think, really important that when you are established in your own industry, and you've worn quite a few hats. Yes. In the spirit corporate environment through not only sales and promotion and as a brand ambassador and strategy, because you have the luxury to stop, be still, be observant, and to give back. That's really where the soul building is.
Thank you. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without having done all of those things and all of that work.
Of course.
My life is, I've been very lucky, but I've also worked really hard, and I've worked in more than 70 countries. America is my fifth to call home. And, the stuff I do in Kenya reminds me, A, to keep working and work harder so that I can potentially do more. B, to acknowledge that, and to repeat myself a little bit, my learnings this week are to ask better questions. This is not a moment where I accept my role in this. It's not for me to say, this is what you need and should have. Instead, it's my role or where I go from here to continue to grow and evolve, learn, is to ask better questions, to sit with the people who live that life every day,
right?
Whatever that life may be, bartender, school principal, whatever, and ask better questions instead of just making assumptions.
Yeah. What is it you need? Here's everything that I brought for you.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It's huge. And, as I mentioned earlier, I've kind of gone through it this week to learn and grow. And I'm really excited to get to Kenya in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to be doing quite a few different things. I have a Kenyan coffee company, so I'm going to go meet the growers. Shake hands with them and tell them that they're incredible and show them what their work, in the foothills of Mount Kenya looks like in LA. This is the result of what you do here. And I've done that once before and they lost their minds. They were so excited that, that from a humble hillside in central Kenya to a beautiful roasted coffee bean that's sold in around the world, actually. That was really beautiful. And then I'm going to go visit the school. I have to. I can't go to Kenya without going to visit. And then for myself, well, it's all for me, but it all enriches me and makes me strive to be the best version of myself I can be. But it's also, I'm also going to go on safari. It's August. It's going to be the migration of the wildebeest. It's been in my bucket list for years. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of try and balance my life better. Do the things that I really that fill up my cup, both personally and professionally. And then when my cup is full, in the famous words of RuPaul, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Exactly.
So it's important to recognize that if your cup is not full and you are struggling, especially if you're in the global bar community, the Tales and Cocktail Foundation is an incredible platform to connect with, to find you or to assist you to get access to resources that may be able to fill up your cup. Because if your cup is not full, you can't help anybody else, because the foundation is here to support, educate, and advance the global hospitality industry, specifically around spirits and cocktail bartending.
Right.
So, I'm really working hard in these last few years to balance, work, rest, and play, in order that I can do these few small things that I'm able to, and do my tiny bit to make an impact in whatever way I can.
I am so grateful that you've come to share your time with me today, John. It was really a delight to listen to the stories you've had to tell, and it sounds like really great soul food.
Thank you. And thank you to you, because diversity and inclusion are words that get slung around quite, sometimes lazily. But the work that you've done tirelessly for years is absolutely is the dictionary definition of those words, diversity and inclusion. And for me, I tick all of the boxes. I just listened to Anastasia Miller's talk, as you did. All my life I tick the other box.
I'm there.
I'm mixed race. I'm half Kenyan, half British. But when people ask me where I'm from, I always say Kenya.
Right.
And that grounding in kind of knowing which part of me exits my mouth first, as to who are you, where are you from. Well, I'm Kenyan, born in Nairobi, but I'm half British. Went to school and university in England. I'm an Australian citizen living in Los Angeles. That's my truth. But what exits first is I'm Kenyan.
Yeah. It's really an honor and a blessing to be a citizen of the world.
100%.
And I really love meeting others that are cut from the same fabric as I am, because when you start out having the opportunity to jump time zones and jump countries and cultures, for me, I felt like, doesn't everybody do this? And then you kind of you bump your head on a window and you realize not everybody has the opportunity to understand that, yes, we are one all human race, but to have the opportunity to open your eyes and feel how other cultures move through the world to accomplish the exact same thing is really heartwarming. I mean, it doesn't have to happen exactly the same way. We don't have to all be exactly the same.
There's no script for what we're doing.
Exactly.
And so, we the best we can do is the best we can do.
Exactly.
And everything I have in my life, I've gotten through the bar industry.
Right.
Through bartending or on various other parts of this incredible industry. I started out at TGI Fridays as a 17-year-old student bartender. My first cocktail bartending shift was on my 18th birthday.
Wow.
True story. True story.
At TGI Fridays, did you have all the bling? Did you have all the bling?
Back then, if you cut me, I would have bled red and white. I was fully, indoctrinated into the TGI Fridays universe. And it is that, I met some wonderful customers at TGI's. I met a financial advisor who helped me buy a house as a 19-year-old student bartender. I bought a secondhand car from somebody who was a customer at the bar. I used to say I bought a sailing boat, like a little dinghy that I loved for years. I'd throw it on the top of my little car and go down to the southwest of England. Like all of these, I have lifelong friends and professional relationships that I've gotten over a bar counter. So, now that I'm the age that I am, it's really time for me to pay back and or pay forward. Depending on your, perspective with or your relationship with me. And that's what I try to do. I try to be the best version of myself every day. That goes wrong from time to time, but that's okay. Anastasia was saying it's how you pick yourself up. after you've been knocked, or it's how you support others. It's how you navigate, how you speak, how you respect, how you love one another. And that's I'm doing the best I can because it's all we can do.
I feel you. We can only do the best we can. On that note, I want to thank John Gakuru, and I am Rosalina Africano, your host. We look forward to you joining us again next time. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for Perfect Cocktail Pursuits. If you enjoyed today's episode, let's connect. Like, follow, share. I look forward to seeing you soon.